Good morning, you guys. I want to bring you guys a review of Ready to Love Miami. The people are to the point where they're, as I say, getting closer to the finish line. Really enjoyed this particular episode. We were able to go on more intense dates, one-on-ones with the actual couples. We start off with the first elimination, where Tommy does that. He mixed things up, and the first person that gets eliminated is Dominica. Dominica's to the point where she was also called to the carpet, as I say earlier in the show, and I guess she didn't learn her lesson. She was also called down with Sharisa, but Sharisa was saved, and in the confessional, Sharisa said she knew she wasn't going to be eliminated because, contrary to proper belief, she basically, like she said, learned her lesson and stepped it up. Dominica basically said in the confessional that she wasn't really phased by it because she basically is not everybody's cup of tea, and she gets that. The ladies are to the point where they are stepping it up this particular season. They are to the point where they are in Miami, the city of love, as I say, and beautiful people. This particular season, I'm enjoying the vibes. This particular season, I'm not to the point where I'm really ready to say who I think is going to be together, anything like that, because a lot of people are giving mixed signals. But we're gonna jump right into it, and we're gonna be to the point where I'm gonna give you guys a basic rundown of basically what happens. We're to the point where we invite Mike and Brandy to the thing, and I'm gonna bring them up and close and personal first because I feel like Mike and Brandy. I just have to go ahead and say this one. I think they're gonna really make it to the end. Their relationship and chemistry is really genuine. Brandy is actually a flight attendant. Mike actually owns his own studio. In other words, he's an entrepreneur. I like that vibe because at the end of the day, he basically lets her know what it is as far as his previous relationship. He was previously married. He's now divorced. He has three kids as a result. He has a 14-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 10-year-old. She basically asked him a $1 million question. Even though he has kids, would he consider having kids with her? Because Brandy is very adamant and says she does want future children. He basically takes a minute, and I was like, I don't know what he's gonna say. And he finally says, "Well, I guess we'll have to have five more." So Brandy gives it a little smile. They do what they do, and they basically had a great little dinner date. I was very glad to hear that Mike said he was open to having more kids with Brandy because I'm not saying it was a deal breaker. She didn't really say it like that, but I think it's one of those things where she really wants to start a family. Brandy is, like I told you guys, she actually is a flight attendant. But Miss Brandy is basically giving vibes, and I like the fact that she's coming right on and saying who she wants, and she's sticking to that. She's basically giving me Joy and Clifton vibes from last season, but we'll have to see how this thing pans out. But as far as Samson and Shakira, they are my second favorite. I go ahead and say couple. I'm gonna say it. Shakira is to the point where she is a single mom. She lets everybody know that unapologetically. She is also to the point where she actually is vibing with Samson. You could tell that Samson is really feeling her. He basically ends the night and tells her that he could sit here and watch her all night, and she was like, "I could do the same." Their actual conversation was really, really genuine. It flowed really well. It basically came apart about her actual son and the fact that she lets him know that yes, she is a quote unquote military brat, but she says her style of parenting is totally different from her parents' style of parenting. She lets him know out the gate that her son is her main priority, and if a man's to the point where he can't vibe with her son, it's a deal breaker. Samson lets her know that he has no issues with dating her, considering she does have a son. He basically says that basically what draws him to her, her love for her son. I thought it was really, really cute and genuine for him to say that. In my mind, Samson is a real sweetheart, and I'm hoping that he will be to the point he will solidify and say who he really wants to be with. But I personally think him and Shakira have a great vibe together. We'll see where they actually go from here, whether or not they continue to pursue it. We also to the point where we have what's called Taco Tuesday. Miss Sharice decides that she wants to host it. So with her hosting Taco Tuesday, she realizes that she invited Devin. Devin comes in empty-handed, and Miss Sharice is going to remind us of it. He gets to the point where he wants to use the restroom, and he basically asks her to use it, and she basically asks him, did he put the toilet seat down to basic bells and whistle? He was like, no. When she was to the point where she was trying to get stuff prepped up for the actual tacos, you would think that somebody else would be willing to help. But in the confessional, she basically lets us know that she understands where he's coming from. You nobody does. She says she really thinks that most things that Devin has done are by his mom. Basically, she's telling us she thinks he's a mama's boy. We based to the point everybody brings something into the actual thing except for him. And she brought it, and she was to the point where she had to let us know that. But everybody brought liquor because she already had the tacos and everything set up. Everybody was in attendance. Only person that was not in attendance, I forgot to tell you guys, what is Lena. Looney, I'm sorry. Looney had to sit this one out, period, because she was diagnosed with, in other words, she tested positive for C19. The crew and everybody was, a little, they weren't a little down or whatever, but you can tell in their face a little disappointed as far as the guys were concerned, because Samson, that was his first pick. He was really, really close to her when they actually first went to the mixer. But they're saying that she will return, but she's gonna sit the first week out. But yeah, you guys, I was glad that Sharice did host Taco Tuesday. Everybody was able to basically let their hair down and actually be to the point where they actually could be their genuine selves. Everybody was mixing and mingling, doing what they do. Brandy was all over Mike as usual. I kind of like to see them vibe because at the end of the day, when they vibe, you forget everybody else is on the show because it seems like they're so into each other, which is a good thing. Like we say, Sharice wasn't to the point where she actually picked anybody. She basically was being the true hostess that she is. But the thing about Sharice is, I think this season she gonna pick up on a vibe where she gonna be, where she said to the women that she feel like she brings the whole table to the table, and she feel like she got this persona like she really don't need a man. Her and Extra Cure got into it about that because she was like, "Well, if you're to the point you don't need a man, then why are you here?" My thing is, I don't really think it's one of those things where it's got to be whether or not she needs a man. It's probably one of those things where she's very independent. Maybe they got off on the wrong footing as far as communication. But it is what it is. I think that's really what's gonna be the nail in Sharice's coffin per se. She's gonna be too independent for these men. It's basically gonna be a turnoff. But we'll see, and I'll keep you guys posted. Shakira is to the point, like I told you, Shakira is the model, and she comes off as a single mom, and she's very loving about it. And she lets the men know that it is what it is about that. Now Swayze is to the point that he actually was invited to another event that everybody put up where they actually met up at the bowling alley. I thought the bowling alley scene was really, really cute. Everybody was to the point they were vibing, they actually really were enjoying themselves. Alonzo was to the point where him and Kayla actually got really, really close. She was going to actually, attempting to get the ball, and he decides to come up behind her. He basically gives her a couple of pointers. She was very, very, in other words, taken aback. She enjoyed it. She tells Swayze and him to actually have I say a bowl off, and she said whoever wins would get a kiss. So at the end, Alonzo did win, and they did embrace, and they did kiss. You could tell she was really, really glad to actually get some alone time with him. I think she been wanting to be with him. Swayze comes off to the women as kind of like the playboy type of guy, but I don't think it's one of those things where he's really a playboy. I think that Swayze is really, really a cool dude, but I think he's really, really be trying too hard, and he really be trying to talk to the wrong women. And the reason why I say it like that is because he has a connection there, but the ones that he be really talking to, they ain't really feeling him like that. Actually, when they actually go bowling, I really enjoyed that. That was my favorite part of the episode because I was able to see everybody genuinely, having a good time, smiling, and being in the element. But that kiss came out of nowhere, and I was here for it. I was like, "Go ahead, do what you do, solidify your thing. We got to keep this thing popping." But it's to the point where they go on to the next episode where they actually everybody's sitting around. It's time to make the final decision. Now I'm gonna get to actually who actually was on the chopping block, but I'm also gonna let you guys know as far as Mike and his connection. Basically, like I told you guys, Mike does have like a as the women say, a lot of baggage. But Mike basically lets us know he's not feeling Kadia. And the reason why he say he's not feeling Kadia, he says she talked too much. He basically told Tommy that she had the nerve to interview him while she was eating. Tommy was so tickled that it made me laugh. I was saying to myself, he got to understand Kadia is actually doing what a lot of women are afraid to do. She's really getting all the questions out there. She wants to know what's this and what's that. I think that's her strategy for this particular season. She wants to see who's who, and most importantly, not waste her time, which I can kind of understand. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just her approach or how she did it. Oh, I also forgot to tell y'all that LJ, which is the I said a new guy, but he's not really a new guy, but he's most suave out of the bunch to me. I love his accent. He pours the ramen coat for Tranika. Tranika is very, very appreciative of it. She says, "Ooh, you remember? That's a favorite, my favorite drink." They actually started talking or whatever, and the extra thing they were actually to the point where they feel like they were actually going to have a connection, but we will see. So yeah, that's to the point where everybody decided that they were going to leave that. And actually, the next thing they get to is where everybody is at the mixer. Now, the mixer, everybody's to the point they just, mixing and vibing, trying to have their last minute little conversations. You know how it goes on the particular episode if you do watch. I personally think, like I said, the people that had the strongest connection still would be Mike and Brandy. Also, I think that Samson and Shakira would actually be a great connection. I hope they keep it going. Now, Sharice, I don't think she's to the point she's solidified anybody. I think she's pretty much just playing it safe. And like I told you guys, that's pretty much what's going to be her demise. I think pretty early on here, she's going to be eliminated after a while. I could be wrong. Now, April is to the point that I feel like April is a cool person. But the thing about April is she is another person that's playing it real, real safe, and you can't really do that when it comes to this particular episode. As far as I have seen, because I've been watching from ever since season one. Now April's to the point where she's not a bad person or anything like that, but I think that she's really vibing, but she's not vibing with the right people. It's not to the point nobody's feeling April, but I think it's the way that she comes off. She comes off real standoffish, like she's really not trying to vibe and really not trying to, in the guy's mind, solidify it. In other words, they basically, in my mind, feel like they're trying to say she was boring, which I thought was a no. Not that she's a boring person, she just not might not be your cup of tea. In this particular thing, as far as ready to love, you got to really be just like the title says. You got to be prepared at all times. You got to be mingling, and you got to be making yourself known. Because if you don't, you will be to the point you're forgotten quickly. Now, as far as elimination day goes, we're to the point we have Dominica and actually Swayze. They actually go on a date. They had a great little vibe. They actually to the point they had a great dinner. She basically asked him $1 million question. When was his last relationship? He basically told her he had not been in a relationship for the last 3 years, but the relationship for that he actually was in it for actually 8 years. That was very, very shocking to me and most important to her. I guess they wanted to, think just like I said, Swayze gives off the persona that he's actually a playboy. But he lets them know, no, he's every relationship he has been in has been actually long term. He said he's to the point he is looking for love, and most important, the reason why he might come off as a playboy type and play it so much, he said, because the actual job that he has to be serious, and he actually is a paramedic. So I guess that's one of those things where he does what he does. I really don't think that Swayze is a bad guy for anybody. I think it's maybe this persona that he puts off that maybe thinks makes the women think that he's a playboy. But I really think that Swayze is a good connection for the right woman. Now I really hadn't had a chance to really think who I think he should be with or hope he'd be with. But I'm gonna wait around and see who he picks because I think that's gonna be really really cool to see because he's looking at a lot of them. I think it's at least two of them that's on his radar. Like I told you guys, everybody's to the point they actually mixing and mingle, and it gets to the point where we actually get to the meat and potatoes of the situation. As always, we get to the elimination table. Tommy basically considers this actual mixer that they had, the white party, the Miami White Party. So everybody comes dressed in white, which is really, really cute and dope. Everybody sits down and has their drinks, and they basically mix and mingle, and everybody's talking. I basically looked at the fact that Randall and Shakira were actually talking, and I felt like they actually were at a great connection. I don't think it's one of the things where Randall's actually picking anybody right along. I think he's really trying to work the room and see who he really has a genuine connection with, which I think is a great strategy because you can't really put all your eggs in one basket. But Brandon and Mike look like they have picked each other from the beginning. So I mean, it don't that strategy don't work for everybody. But I think it really works for Brandon and Mike. I kind of think that they really would be together, but I hope it won't be a deal breaker. The fact that he actually has the other three kids, I hope there won't be an interference. Because right now it seems like Brandy doesn't really put that on, In other words, she doesn't really consider that a deal breaker like some of the other women do. Some of the other women have expressed that they don't like the fact that he has a lot of kids. They feel like that's a deal breaker. My thing is nothing really wrong with that. As long as he takes care of his kids, it is what it is. But Mike is the typical man for Brandy because she basically said she liked him as far as looks, his personality, because he's a tall, dark, handsome type. I said to myself, go Brandy girl, get your man. But I'm hoping that this particular season that we have more genuine connections because last season, in my opinion, we don't have a real lot of real genuine connections. I think the only one that really was genuine was Joy and Cliff, and they are still together. But yeah, like I told you, this particular episode, you guys, it was given. I appreciate it. I loved it. I was really looking forward to the season beginning, and so far, I have not been disappointed. I hope they keep coming with them and giving us more cliffhangers as far as the episodes are concerned, letting us get to know each one of these people individually, but most importantly, who's actually is genuinely connected. And like I said, Dominica is to the point where she in my mind she really did need to go because Dominica really wasn't genuinely there. I think she was just there for camera time. That's just my opinion. When she got eliminated, she made the statement like I told you guys about she ain't everybody's cup of tea. That might be so. Not saying Dominica would not find nobody, because she has a great personality, but it just wasn't a good fit for the show. Well, yeah, you guys, I want to just come on here and give you guys an actual review of the actual Ready to Love thing. I hope you guys to the point you actually are enjoying the reviews as much as I am enjoying bringing them to you guys. I really love watching Ready to Love, so I don't mind bringing you guys a review, and I will be doing it every week for you guys. I hope you guys will tune in. I appreciate the guys actually supporting the channel. Like I tell you guys, as always, give you girls support over here because I really, really need it. And also, if you're in here, you can leave a comment. Leave me a comment. Let me know you were here, and also give the video a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys.
Are you back? Are you back?